What's going on YouTube? It's Arjuna coming at you with another video. Real quick, I want to thank you guys. Thank you so much for all your support, for watching my videos, liking, commenting, subscribing, and you know all that jazz, sharing these videos with your friends. All of that is greatly appreciated. Real quick, before I get into the content of this video, if you want to make a few extra bucks, support my channel while you're at it. I got the links down in the description below. Without further ado, I would like to talk about subliminals. Let's see what we got here going on with subliminals. Alright, so I want to give you guys a little bit of the backstory of my subliminal use history. It all started back in 2014 when I accidentally stumbled upon the Subliminal Talk website. And it is run by the owner of Subliminal Shop, which is whose parent company is Indigo Mind Labs. That is run by Shannon Matteson, who is a content creator, a subliminal content creator, and has been for a couple of decades, and is considered by many to be the expert prodigy in his craft, if I may say so myself. Incredible master of syntax and grammar and the way he phrases words in his forum, like the way that he communicates on a day-to-day basis with the people on his forum, tells you that deep down, at his core, at his soul, he has a very strong understanding of the English language. Based on some of these things that I was seeing on that forum, I was looking at like the depth of knowledge that he has on like how the subconscious works, and that's kind of a lot to know for someone who doesn't have any like real world tangible credentials like a degree in psychology or something like that. So let me bring it back. I actually got into subliminals when I stumbled across it by accident, I should say, or should I say it's a coincidence or synchronicity, or how my life, every decision that I've made up until that point, led me by no other alternative directly to subliminals and Subliminal Talk, Subliminal Shop, and Indigo Mind Labs. And that's when my subliminal journey completely began. It's crazy, it's crazy. Like, how can you just press a button, right? How can you press a button and all of a sudden your mind starts to execute this script that's being poured into your mind? So let's think back to a couple decades ago. I don't know the dates, I just know that it happened. It's called MK Ultra, Mind Control Ultra, so it stands for. It is a project by one of the governmental agencies, I believe it was the CIA. They created MK Ultra to figure out how they can possibly control the human mind, control the psyche as a mechanism for psychological warfare. With that being the case, they were testing subliminal messages, they were testing hidden messages, covertly coercing people into believing or behaving a certain way. And this is back in the day, a couple decades ago. I'm honestly not sure when it was. It could have been in the 40s, 50s, around that time. Maybe a World War II era. Look it up yourself if you want to get accurate details. I'm just talking here for the sake of conversation. So, based on the CIA's research, they decided that there is something to it. And obviously it's been, X amount of time, so it's declassified now. So this thing has been documented and has been released and spoken about by some officials. So, subliminals, they were tested, they were tried, there was a thing in the past, they were a thing in the past, but they made a resurgence in the 80s, 1980s, I believe. And there were some people starting recordings that you could play at night, but they weren't really subliminal. They were more like hypnosis or conscious suggestions. The difference between hypnosis and subliminal, the fact that subliminal has the word subliminal in the first place, which means literally that it is below the level of human perception, or below the level of perception. If you and I were talking about something, exchanging real world words in the English language, we are talking in a superliminal or non-subliminal state, because our conversation is not below the realm of perception. It is very much perceptible. When you have something subliminal, it is hidden. It is beyond or underneath the average human ability to detect it. When it comes to subliminal audio messages, it's when you record and encode the audio suggestions below the level of auditory perception. When it comes to visual subliminals, it has to be like, you can't even be able to see it. If you're looking at a picture, this picture of me, if you pause this video and you look at this picture of me, you're seeing the image that you are supposed to see. But if you're trying to find something subliminally, let me say, for instance, if I start talking about flowers or brown flowers or leaves or whatever, like you're not perceiving, you're not directly, your attention is not directly drawn to the fact that I have flowers or leaves or whatever these things are on my shirt. Because that's not what the subject is. That's a subliminal concept. And like, let's say for instance, I had some video or like clips, images flash really, really, really fast across the screen, which I don't. Trust me, I don't have any subliminals playing. All I have playing right now is Mario music from Super Mario World and Mario 64. That's all we have playing. There's no subliminals going on. But anyway, you will see the flash of the messages across the screen, but it would be so fast that you really wouldn't see it. You could only see it if you pause it. And there are some videos out there that are designed to subliminally influence you through the visual stimuli. But when it comes to auditory and audio subliminals in that aspect, it's all started around the 80s and 90s, like when it was originally conscious hypnosis, and then it started gradually getting more and more advanced, and in Shannon's terms, they would be something akin to Generation 1 subliminals, where it would be very simple, very concrete statements of manifestation, like, I am wealthy, or I am beautiful, or I am attractive, or I am abundant. Like very few words, very, very difficult for your subconscious to alter the meaning of those things because it's so concrete. Your subconscious just understands that that's what it's trying to say. But there are certain things that the human mind cannot really decode and decipher and pick apart, and which part of the subconscious does this code need to go to, etc. And that's the kind of things that Shannon starts to talk about, that he discovered in his advancements to stage Generation 3, Generation 4, Generation 5, even where he is right now is Generation 5.5, where the technology is so far advanced that he doesn't even bother to explain the technical aspects of it because, well, for one, obviously it's trade secrets. He spent decades researching it and understanding, like trying to figure this out. And two, it's just so far beyond our comprehension that, I mean, it would be pointless. I mean, let's just be real. Some of the things I can see Shannon tries to talk about on the forum, and it's just like so far beyond comprehension that people just look at him like, okay. But I'm gonna be honest, I haven't been to that forum in quite a long time. I have been using a subliminal called Ultimate Monetary Success. I think he renamed it to Ultra Monetary Success, I'm not sure. But I have been using that since maybe 2 weeks after it released. I heard some good things about it, and I had the money to spare, and I hadn't used one of Shannon's subliminals in a long time. So I took a crack at it, man. I've been using it for what, like a month and a half, 2 months? I don't even know, like, I haven't been keeping track. That's the thing, these days I don't even keep track of what my subliminal usage is. I just like set it and forget it because I'm trying to focus on my day-to-day life. The subliminal is supposed to be subconscious and it's supposed to take effect in the background. And that's the whole point of subliminal programs. A lot of the time, back in 2014 when I first got into subliminals, it was such an obsession of mine. It was insane. Subliminals and pheromones were so obsessive. I was so obsessive about it that it would not leave my conscious mind. So it was hard for the subliminal to actually take effect in a subliminal way because I always had it at the forefront of my mind. That's not to say it didn't work, because they did. They worked a lot. My first program was Alpha Male 6 and my second program was Sex Magnet 3, and both of those programs, they worked so well. It's incredible. Like the person I became is just insane. The second time I ran AM6, which is Alpha Male 6, what I did was I recorded videos and uploaded them to YouTube, not about the subliminal itself, but I uploaded them talking about other things in life, but it was also kind of a way for me to visually go back and look at my videos and see the growth that I have experienced in those times. So stage 1 I made a video, stage 2 I made another video, stage 3 I made another video, and I could really see myself growing as a human being between filming each video. And that's just like, it's mind-boggling to think that pressing play once a day, every day, for 6 months straight would cause a realistic, life-changing personality. Or real personality-changing life. Whatever, I butchered those words, I'm not gonna edit it, sorry. So, how do these subliminals work, right? And I'm no expert here. I'm no expert. I'm just a huge fan of subliminals, and I love to understand how the mind works, something that I've always been fascinated by. So in studying Shannon's work, in studying another creator, Subliminal Club, in studying their work, in studying how it affects me and how it affects other people, I've been able to draw certain conclusions, and I am not the arbiter of this information by any means, so please take with it a grain of salt. I could be completely wrong here, and if I am, please bash me on the comments below if you want to. I don't give a crap what you think, but this is my perception of it, right? So the subconscious is an entity. The subconscious is an entity that exists in tandem with the conscious. And these two facets of our being interact with each other on a daily basis in ways that we obviously don't understand, because I, right now, am looking at the camera, and the camera is recording, and that's a conscious fact that I am recognizing it. But the subconscious is picking up every little piece of information around me 24/7, but is discarding 90 to 95 to maybe even 90% of that information because it's not relevant. Like, my conscious mind does not need to know that that door over there is cracked maybe an inch, and I can see a little bit of the moonlight through the bottom of that door. Like, my conscious mind does not need to know that information, but my subconscious mind is picking up that information. So the subconscious is like a sponge almost, and it's like absorbing data on a daily basis, constantly absorbing data, and it can even be reprogrammed. From what I've understood, from what I've learned, it seems that the subconscious is very much like a CPU, a computer, central processing unit, in that it is very literal. I don't know if any of you have watched the movie, which is stemmed from a book called The Secret. In that movie, book, philosophy, ideology, they explain something very critical and important. And it's that the subconscious doesn't really understand negating statements. Like, if I were to say I am not poor, like, the subconscious doesn't register that not. That not word is a modifier, is a negating word, and the subconscious only understands the words I am poor. It doesn't understand the fact that you put the not there, and that little aspect of it is very important to know, because for one, if you are consciously making statements for your manifestation efforts, you really need to make sure that you are not using negating words, because if you do, you're actually going to get some backfire. And then another thing about the subconscious is that it needs to have very specific instructions, and it needs to have instructions in a way that it's not going to resist. Resistance is a very common thing among subliminal programs that try to attack a certain problem or a certain situation way beyond the realms of its capabilities. So let's say, for instance, you have this 20-part long statement that is geared at making you into something that is so far away from your current reality. Your conscious mind and your subconscious is going to bring about a phase of resistance, because it is not believable to your current reality. It does not make sense, and it does not fit within the framework of your reality. So your subconscious is going to exhibit what is called resistance, and resistance is basically a surefire method of knowing that something is like resistance. Like, you're running into a wall, right? You're running into something and it's not occurring because you're resisting it. There's a lot of things that were happening with Shannon's program, DMSI, which is Develop Maximum Sexual Irresistibility. There's a lot of resistance going on in that program because it is aimed at making somebody so far outside of what is commonly perceived to be, not just in his or her own reality, but in what society and people in general think as a whole. It's geared to completely go against the tide, and with that being the case, there's obviously going to be a hell of a lot of resistance. And you just have to kind of understand and put that into perspective. Like, you're literally trying to go against the current that has been in existence for generations upon generations, and trying to break through that and trying to experience a life where men have maximum sexual irresistibility, in that they can just walk into a room and all of a sudden girls start chasing him. If you don't believe that to be your reality, you are going to resist. And every little aspect that your subconscious can possibly use, every outlet that your subconscious can use to resist it, it will use. And that's one of the crazy things that you have to understand about subliminal resistance, is that you never know how it's going to crop up, because it doesn't necessarily make it so very apparently clear what aspect of your reality is causing you to resist that. That's where a lot of self-searching comes in. You really have to take a lot of inventory. Keep a journal. Like, journals are really good for subliminals, because it helps you understand what is going on under the hood, what is going on inside, and it gives you the ability to understand what is going on if you are perceptive enough, and if you are able to draw the lines and draw the parallels between what is going on in your reality compared to what exactly the subliminal is doing in your life. Certain things will express itself and expose itself, really, and will allow you to understand, okay, for instance, if I am exhibiting characteristic X, Y, and Z, and it is based out of fear, I can understand, why am I in fear about this situation? Is it affecting something that I hold dearly? Is it something that I have that I may lose? Or is it a fear of not being able to obtain something that I want? It's going to be rooted in fear somehow, and fear takes thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of different forms. So you have to really be conscious and understand, like, which area of fear, which area that fear is addressing. And by addressing that particular fear, you will seamlessly be able to eliminate that path of resistance. And there's going to be thousands of paths of resistance when it comes to any type of program that you're trying to reprogram your mind with, you know? So you have to kind of be aware that there are paths that are blocking your desire to hit the reality that you want. Especially if you're using subliminals, you are trying to carve out a new path in life, and you're trying to reprogram this computer that you have that is very, very, very logical. Like, it is really, really, really freaking logical. If you think about one of the statements, some of the statements that Shannon even writes in his forum, it's kind of crazy, because if you look at the length of his sentences, it's completely grammatically correct. And I'm not an English expert by any means. I'm not an expert at English, but I can look at a sentence that he writes and I can see it is mastercrafted. And that's like him trying to tone it down so that he can express his ideas in a certain way, so that his audience or the people that are reading it can actually extract benefit out of that statement. Just think about how much crazy script goes into, like, how much crazy syntax that goes into each one of his statements in his subliminals. He's mentioned in one of his posts before, or I'm sure he mentions it all the time, that one single statement can have 500 to 1,000 words. And just think about how many commas it must have, how careful he has to be that it doesn't have any negating statements, how he can't use if/then statements because the subconscious doesn't understand if/then. It's not, like, there's some limitations to this computer that we have in our mind. So it's important to take note, even if you're at home and you're making your own subliminals, or if you're using a subliminal that you found on YouTube. And there's plenty of YouTube subliminals out there. I don't use any of them because I've got access to, and I pay for, some of the best subliminals in the world by both Shannon Matteson and Subliminal Club. Like, I don't want to bother with some of the YouTube subliminals out there, but that's not to say I don't think that they're good, because, I mean, I'm not personally experienced with it. Anyway, so you just have to keep in mind that some of these people may not understand the technicalities, the scientific aspects of the way the subconscious works when they're trying to make the subliminals, and when they do make the subliminals. So, yeah, there may be some sketchy ones out there. I've heard that there's even some dark magic ones where it, like, makes you sell your soul to the devil or something, and I don't know about all that. I've never bothered with it, but I know that there are a couple people that are pretty well known in the subliminal community that have used it and have warned against it because it works really well, but it has a dark side to it. So you just have to be careful with what types of subliminals that you're choosing to put into your body, into your mind. It's very much like a substance. You gotta really understand what it is that you're putting into your mind so that you know that it's going to be healthy, and that's why I'm very selective with who I allow into my mind. It's a very sacred thing to me. So anyway, guys, I'm running out of time. I've talked so much in this 20-minute video, and I'm only pausing it and running out of time because I only have 20 minutes of video space left on my phone, which sucks because I should have deleted some videos before I even started filming. But anyway, guys, that's what I got for today on Subliminals. This is Arjuna making another video, and I appreciate you guys very much for watching this video. If you'd like to support my channel, if you'd like to earn a couple bucks on the side, there's a couple links below. You can either get a free stock using Robinhood, or you can sign up for Cashapp if you don't already have it, and they'll give you $5 free in for that. And I'm also gonna post some links to some subliminals down below and some pheromones. Enjoy it. Enjoy manipulating your reality. Enjoy manifesting what you want to manifest, and enjoy your reality, guys. Thank you for tuning in.